Hey YouTube, this is Sean Sandridge coming with you with another video. So click that like button, subscribe, and tell a friend about me. So I told you I was going to dip my toe in the water with Scandal. Tonight was the premiere. So I have my notes and I'm going to try to keep it short and brief, under 15 minutes because that's all the time I have. So it is the premiere season, and on my video, on my DVR, it said it was season 5, episode 10. It's hard out here for a general. So if that is different, let me know in the comments. So the premiere opens 6 months later, as we know, as the season ended last time. Olivia left the White House and left the president. So we are now fast forwarding to 6 months later. It opens up with Sally Langston talking in her show, The Liberty Report. And there we see Papa Pope and Olivia having dinner. If you've noticed that she has color in her life, and red, the power color, is going to be the other character in the show. Her and Papa Pope are having dinner. Papa Pope is a proud Papa Bear, talking about how great it was that she had all this power and it was just right at her fingertips. And he is just proud to see his baby, you know, doing things and being the boss that he knows that she is. So they're having dinner, and he also talks about Jake being his prodigal son. And then, of course, no sooner than that is over, Jake and Olivia have what I would call pretty much foreplay before they get together. And if you didn't know, I'm Team Jake. So finally, what I've been waiting for is a scandal. And the head of NSA is Olivia's client. She is the first director of NSA. And this Project Mercury is now something that was in the dark web and now it's come to light, and it's kind of like a Snowden type of situation where there's possibly a whistleblower that is spying on leaders. So she has a boyfriend named Billy. Billy is a programmer. Billy is missing, and now everyone seems to think that Billy is the whistleblower. So she is upset because she's like, I had every resource. I vetted him. He couldn't have done this to me. And, you know, I can't have the impression that a female can't serve and be the director of NSA. So everyone's looking for Billy. Meanwhile, Melly comes into the office. She wrote a book. She wants to be president, and so she decided to write a book. So Olivia doesn't want to have anything to do with it, but she leaves her with the book and say, just give me your thoughts. Now, Cyrus asked Olivia about Project Mercury, which is that dark web project that everyone is now all in a tizzy about. Abby then asked Olivia about Project Mercury. So it's on and popping as to where is Billy, what's Project Mercury, and we need to find Billy before Billy is the whistleblower and goes to the press. So Jake visits the president and talks about Project Mercury. He asks Jake to handle the situation before it gets to the press. And then, of course, Olivia is brought up. Jake asks the president, Fitz, if he ever speaks to Olivia. He says no, which is the truth. And then, of course, the president asks Jake if he ever speaks to Olivia, and he says no, which is obviously not the truth. And Jake says, I'm going to take the job for you. I will handle it. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So Abby is flipping out about the president always calling every night, 2 in the morning. She's living off of 3 hours of sleep. She goes and flips out, and she's venting to Cyrus, and Cyrus like, welcome to my world, but it's no longer my world because I used to be in that world and I'm on the outside. And so he breaks it to her that now she is the wife. He had Melly and he had Olivia, and they're gone. It used to be Cyrus, but Cyrus betrayed him. So now she's the new wife, and that it is what it is. So Marcus and Quinn goes to the location that Huck tracks Billy's phone, and lo and behold, while they get to the location, they run into Jake. And they can't find Billy. So they don't understand why it is they can't find Billy. Hold that thought. Now, the director is now under IG, which is the Office of Investigative General, and she's going to lose her job. And she feels betrayed. She feels like, you know, that Billy did her wrong, and that as this is now, you know, everything she's worked for. If she is no longer the NSA director, her situation is going to be a setback for women as a whole, and no females are going to be ever put in that position for decades. So she's very upset about that. And she asks Olivia to pretty much fall on the sword as far as helping her talk to the president about possibly keeping her job. Well, we all know that Olivia doesn't want to talk to the president because, you know, they've broken up, and she doesn't want the first phone call that she makes to the president, to Fitz, to be a favor, because then she's going to be indebted. Now, Abby and Olivia sits down, shares some scotch, talks about Fitz, and that's what the situation is. She doesn't want to talk any other time she would have talked to Fitz about, you know, the situation and working for her client. But now the waters have gotten murky, and she just doesn't want to owe him anything. But it ends up that she decides that she's just going to eat it up, and she's going to call. But meanwhile, Quinn is talking to her boyfriend and wondering, why is it no one can find Billy, and that he's just off the grid? So hold that thought. Olivia calls the president. He doesn't take her call. So she's like, well, that door is shut. Olivia is, Olivia is now still wearing red. So my notes say here that the president is now looking for a new NSA candidate. While that's happening, Olivia is talking to her client, the director. She says, well, who is he getting? And she's like, I don't know. And she goes, they always know. There's always someone in the back burner that's wanting a position. So, you know, why is it you don't know? I hired you because I thought you had the inside loop. And then that's when she realized, like, okay, you obviously is not the inside person. So guess what? Olivia breaks it to her that you need to prepare for your transition. Smells like a setup. And meanwhile, all of this is coming together. And then everyone realized that it really isn't Billy. So who is the president going to vet to be the new director of NSA? Jake. Jake is standing there looking smug, and he introduces Jake as the new director of NSA. Olivia is pissed. She is just pissed. So she goes to Papa Pope's house. Papa Pope's opened the door like, what did you think was going to happen? And then, lo and behold, guess who's sitting at the table having a really nice glass of wine and meal? Prodigal son Jake. Jake is like, what's the problem? I don't know why you wouldn't know why this wouldn't be set up. And Papa Pope is like doing his monologue about you needing to get on the train of the power. And Jake is calm. Papa Pope is like, we need to get someone who can man the wheel. You know how dangerous it is, and get on board and stop pouting like a 12-year-old. So she's speechless. Fast forward, Fitz is going about his way, still waking Abby up at 2 a.m. She has a meltdown. She goes to the White House, and then she essentially divorces Fitz. Say, look, I'm not going to be your wife, and if you need me in the capacity of my job, I will be there, but this relationship that we've been having is over. And then Olivia reviews Melly's book, tells Melly's book that it's garbage, and that, yeah, this is a really nice sanitized book that will sell because you are the ex-first lady, and of course it's going to sell. But if you want a book that's going to make you president, you're going to have to write what's not in that book. And what's not in that book is what's going to be the real story and will get you to be president. So Mellie decides she wants to write the real book and not the safe book. And so it looks as though that her and Olivia are going to do a little collabo and write a book for the masses, the book for the history makers, the book that is going to be the epic book. So that is going to be a running thread, I'm going to assume, for the whole season. So my thoughts on the season premiere. I liked it. It wasn't too over the top. It wasn't too dramatic. It, you know, sometimes Shonda Rhimes can write episodes that is just so much, and sometimes all the different little stories that are going on sometimes can overwhelm you, and I didn't get that feeling. It tied up some little loose ends about what's going on in their lives, so we know where we're at present day. And Olivia is in her gladiator mode, so let's just see. Too early to tell. It looks as though Fitz is trying to make a clean break, but that's always too early to tell, because sometimes he becomes a puppy dog and he has to have an Olivia fix. And then, like I said, if it gets too long on that, I'm off the scandal train. So, but it gave me what I was looking for. It gave me some scandal. It gave me a little bit of suspense. It wasn't too much. It possibly could have been a little bit more, but for me, it was just right. So please hit that like button. Put your comments below. I'm going to review next week, and as long as it stays in the fashion that it's going and builds up for the season, I'm in for the whole season to do a review. So thanks for tuning in. Take care of yourself and each other, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.